Yo, what's up guys, TheJordude here, back again with another video. And I just got the notification that Shadowverse has released their statement on the upcoming balance changes that they're going to have in the July update. So this is my this is actually my first time going through the list, seeing what's being changed. So you guys going to get my first impression of the cards, and then we could I guess I would just kind of give my opinion and perspective on the changes that they're going to make. So yeah, the cards, they're changing 7 cards, and it's going to be Tove, Baphomet, Spawn of the Abyss, Goblin Leader, Grimnir, Ouroboros, and Princess Snow White. Okay, so as we expected, right? Like, the blood stuff has to be getting nerfed because it's being overplayed and has a really good win rate. So as I expected, Tove being hit, Spawn of the Abyss and Baphomet, I guess these were the easiest cards to nerf rather than like Big Knuckle Bodyguard and things like that. So like it kind of makes sense. I'm surprised they're nerfing both of them. I would think they only nerfed one of them, because 2 of them together just made a really strong combo. But yeah, they're apparently going to nerf both of them. Goblin Leader I didn't think would be that much of a problem, but since they're not touching Alice, which makes sense, it does make sense to hit Goblin Leader. Grimnir, of course, Grimnir's just insane, right? So it makes sense. Ouroboros, I could see the Ouroboros hit because Dragon would be really powerful with Blood becoming weaker. So definitely the Ouroboros hit is, I think, okay, because especially how good it is in Dragon right now. Princess Snow White was kind of a surprise to me. I didn't think it was that much of a problem, but sure, let's see what kind of changes these are going to happen. So yeah, as we can see in the reasoning here, they're nerfing these cards because of neutral blood being very powerful, dominating ranked matches. So they're nerfing blood because of the use rate of neutral blood is really high, so it's not very there's not a spread of decks. And also there's a huge gap between going first and going second, which makes so much sense. You see that if you play the game well enough. So the first card that's being changed is Tove. Tove will have his attack, defense, and effect change. Oh no, his effect's not being changed. When an ally and neutral follower comes into play, this follower gains rush, so it's the same effect. However, he is now a 2/2 instead of a 3/3. So this is actually a huge nerf. Like, the way I wanted to nerf him was either increase the cost, or change its effect, but changing it to a 2/2 makes it significantly worse, because now it's like the only benefit of playing Tove in your deck is that it could gain rush, but it's not trading over Grimnirs, it's not trading over other 2-drops, so this is a big nerf on Tove. So Baphomet is being changed to Fanfare, put a random Bloodcraft follower from your deck to your hand. And it's losing its enhance effect, they're just deleting that, I guess. So Baphomet, just pretty much like a dragon summoner, just adds a Bloodcraft card to your deck to your hand. It's a big hit, because if you're playing Blood, you're not playing a Blood deck and you're not playing only one other Blood type card, so it's just kind of like a cycling card now. So I do like this balance change. I think it's elegant, it's consistent with what other 2-cost class cards do in cycling out and searching for something in your deck. So I think that's a fine nerf. So Spawn of the Abyss, so he will now have the effect, so he still has ambush. Whenever this follower attacks, deal 5 damage to the enemy leader. If ambush is active for this follower, last words, deal 5 damage to enemy if ambush is active for this follower. Okay, what about his evolved effect? Evolve. He just doesn't have an evolve effect. Okay. So he's just always he's at least doing 5 damage. If you hit face with him, you get to do 11, or you could do 13 if you evolve with it. So that's a lot better. I think you can't do up to 16 damage with Spawn of the Abyss, and you just kill them off with like an Alucard or an Emeralda. So I think this is like a significant enough balance change, especially with the Baphomet change, that Spawn of the Abyss is significantly weaker, and I do like this. So Goblin Leader is changing his cost to 4 instead of 3, and his attack and stats are now going to be a 2/3 instead of a 1/2. So this is a really similar change to what they did to Prince of Catacombs, making it a 4 cost. And from what we understand from this game, 4 is significantly more than 3, because on 4, that's like the turn you want to evolve. And evolving a Goblin Leader isn't very good because it's not affecting your board. You're probably not going to get like a 2.5 for 1 or a 3 for 1. So Goblin Leader changing to 4 is quite a big deal, and his effect is still the same, so it's not really doing anything. And now you can't curve out Goblin Leader on 3 into Alice, so I think this is a really big hit, and Goblin Leader is probably never going to be played anymore. So after reading this big, large of text, we can see they're basically touching Grimnir and Ouroboros mainly because of Ramp Dragon, and they're afraid of Ramp Dragon being too strong after the nerfs to Blood. So that's like the biggest reason why they're changing these cards. So Grimnir in its evolved form, in its unevolved form, enhance 10, deal 1 damage to all enemy followers 4 times, enhance 10. Okay, I see the difference now. They removed the enemy they added the text followers, so now Grimnir is only clearing boards, is not killing your opponent anymore. I think that's actually a really good change. I think they should change that text to a lot of cards, to be honest. Things like Levi Master Mage, Crimson Sorcery, those kinds of effects shouldn't be able to hit your opponent in the face, mainly because your opponents only have 20 life. It's not like Hearthstone when you have 30 life, which is a lot more. So having direct burn damage should cost a lot more than it should. So things like Crimson Sorcery, Master Mage Levi, and yeah, Grimnir or War Cyclone shouldn't be able to hit face. But yeah, for now they're only changing Grimnir, so now it's only dealing damage to followers instead of enemies, which I think is good. Like, Grimnir would still be a decent card, it's just not as powerful as it was before, because there's a lot of times where you can hold on to Grimnir and just rely on that 4 damage to finish off your opponent and burn. But now that it only does damage to followers, sometimes it's not relevant. But I still think it could be a decent card, like a neutral card that's an AoE at 10, but still a 2/3 with ward on 3, still okay. Especially because Alice isn't being touched, so if you're still playing neutrals, Grimnir's still a solid 3-drop. So now for Ouroboros, Fanfare deals 3 damage to an enemy. Last would put Ouroboros to your hand. So they basically removed the restore 3 defense to your leader. I like this a lot because what was frustrating about Ouroboros wasn't always the fact that it returns back to your opponent's hand and you have to keep dealing with it. It's that the 3 life was like actually a lot of health. So I found that dragons were able to stabilize just by spamming out Ouroboros every turn and then just having it die. Because your opponent has to kill it. If they can't kill your opponent that turn, they have to respect the Ouroboros because it's like 8 or 10 damage that's just going to go face otherwise. So moving the 3 defense, or the 3 health, is actually pretty nice of a touch on Ouroboros. So they're going to be changing Princess Snow White because they're afraid that Haven's going to be strong after the blood nerfs, especially like Aegis builds. So, and because Tova's being touched, Princess Snow White, they're afraid of it being too strong of a 2-drop. So now it's going to have the effects. The Haven Clef. So Snow White will have this defense in its evolved form. 2 defense. Okay, so they're not giving it any extra defense points. So it's going to be a 1/2. Once it's evolved, it becomes a 2/2. I think that's a pretty good touch because that extra defense lets Snow White trade into a 2-drop and survive, or like into a Grimnir and survive. So now if it's attacking into a Grimnir, it's actually taking the entire Snow White. So I think this makes a big difference on the impact of Snow White. Is she still going to be a good card? I still think she's slightly better than other 2-drops. Because if she's just trained into a 2/2, then it's like playing a normal 2/2. However, sometimes you'll get that upside where it survives the board or it's annoying for your opponent to deal with. So it's still okay. So yeah, that's pretty much it for all the balance changes. Like always, if you have any of these cards and want to vial them, you get the full value of what it costs to craft them. So yeah, overall I think these are pretty good balance changes to these cards. These were pretty powerful cards. I'm pretty and I think everyone complained about everything that was on this list at some point. So I'm glad that Side Games and Shadowverse have decided on these cards to make the changes. They hit blood really hard, which makes a lot of sense, and the changes are fair. They're not like completely destroying the card. Every card's still playable. They're just less oppressive and powerful as they were before. And yeah, overall that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about the upcoming changes that are happening very soon in the comments down below. And if you like the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and follow me in my social media links down below in the description. And as always, I'll see you guys next time. See ya.
サボり夜を吐き出し悲観とする我がさが湧き立つこの感